Madcap Music Review. We are here with Dave Wakeling of the English Beat at St. Rock on the kickoff of their...
Here we go, love.
Here we go, love. The new album coming up.
Love. Yes.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to meet you, boss.
All right, well, the new album, you guys have a unique approach that a lot of bands are doing. You're doing it with the Pledge Music campaign.
Aye, very interesting. And I've met some fantastic people from it. One of the things we had was, I thought it was a bit expensive, but anyway, $400, come and hang at the studio and sing on a chorus if you want to. Well, I've had most interesting people, physicists, book editors, investment brokers, and people who've liked my music for 20, 30 odd years, very odd years, some of them, and it's actually been really fascinating. Now, the downside of it is, when a record company used to lend you $500,000, it was all a bit casual. Like,
right.
Oh, that money's gone, can we have some more? Now you feel really guilty. Like, this is your fans' money, and they've loved you for 30 years. You better get 100 cents out of every dollar they've given you, Dave. So now I feel this really weird responsibility that I never used to feel. However, it's good because when you acted that way with the record company money, you'd sell 1 million records and then find out, broke even.
Right.
Oh.
After all the gigs.
But you're all set up for the next one, really? No. So I like this better. We'll have an album made. It's paid for, so I'm not going to spend the first year trying to recoup the money at 13%. The record's made. Probably 700 or 1,000 of my initial purchasers have already bought it, but that's really quite a small number to fund the whole thing, and they feel really excited to be a part of it. We've had some great conversations.
And you had the Cake Project for the kids that they could come on and sing on a few tracks.
Yes, if Killing worked, it would have worked by now. And so far we've got about 18, 20 kids from around the world. Both of my grandsons are singing on it. The first girl, Abigail, who sang on it, was just chilling. You know, because it's like a big sort of rock song. Sounds like The Clash, I hope. And then it's like massive, and then just this little 12-year-old girl's voice. If Killing worked, it would have worked by now. It's like, whoa, from the mouths of babes. Everybody's hair went up, so we want this choir of children singing it, and we might even have it in different languages. I've got somebody who'd like to sing it in Hebrew, and we'll have some child singing it in Arabic.
That's really awesome.
I think it could be, you know. You don't want to get too flagrant with it, but...
an extension of the original two-tone movement, just unifying all the different cultures. And
it's I don't know, when I was growing up as 12, watching black and white television, watching the wars on black and white television, and I used to think, oh, it'd be okay when I'm grown up, they won't do all this. And it's worse. And I suppose every generation thinks they're going to change the world and then becomes disappointed that they haven't. But change is generational. My children have a very different view of the world than I do, and a very different view of the world from my parents. My parents would tell me about people of different colours and minorities as though it was a warning. Growing up, me and my friends would be like, ooh, that's exciting, he's got a friend who's a different colour. My children don't describe each other by terms of their colour at all.
They see them as human beings,
right,
the way they're supposed to.
Just like Martin Luther King and Bob Marley said about the colour of your skin will be no more significant than the colour of your eyes.
Right.
And I have a son that looks like Obama, and it's very interesting, a room full of black, white, Persian kids, and they describe each other, and they don't use their ethnicity as the way they describe them. They use the content of their heart and soul, whether they're a good person or not.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, and you say, oh God, we tried and we failed, we were going to save the world. But look, it's generational. Over 3 generations now, it's so much better than it was. It was kind of tawdry and scared.
Right.
Now it's opening up. So, and their children will take it a step further. So, you'd like to change the world with a record. That's it. As soon as we brought Stand Down Margaret out, she resigned, and that Wakeling, he's got a point. No, sadly not. You can rail about nuclear weapons and it doesn't look like it changes looks, but slowly it changes perceptions and it gets down to the point, it's like, if killing worked, it would have worked by now. It would have worked by now. 30,000 years of killing each other's children. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And all the work that goes into one, whether you're a parent or a teacher or whatever, all the work, the pain that goes into getting somebody old enough to get killed.
Right.
It's disgusting. We let the team down, you know. So, I know we're part animal and part angel, but come on. We're letting the squad down here. It's probably not going to save many lives, but it's incremental and it's generational. I'm not sort of party political in the way I used to be, and I don't even know if that kind of works. It seems to set up more divisions than anything else, but I'm still political, and so two songs are different sides of the same penny. The first one says, "The love you give lasts forever." Even when you're gone.
There's an interesting story behind that too.
Mm-hmm. And the other side of that same penny really is, if killing worked, it would have worked by now, eh? Duh.
The Love You Give was written after the passing of your mother, wasn't it?
It was. That was the inspiration of it. Me and my sister, after a good few weeks in the hospice, and suddenly the next morning the spell's broke and you're back home, she's gone. And my sister worked in mental health decades, said, "She's still here, isn't she?" I was like, "Yes, I know." She said, "I don't mean ooh." She said, "But there's something, isn't there?" I was like, I know. The Bulgarians were trying to start their wine industry at the time. It was a big push. Mm-hmm. So we tried to help out best we could, you know, a couple of bottles of Bulgarian Red, and we started talking about it, and we figured that what we were feeling was the love we shared with our mom. And that developed into, that lasts in, oh, I see. So it's the love you give that lasts forever, even when you're gone. And into the second bottle of wine, we wondered whether that was what immortality was to people. It's not you ain't gonna last forever, everybody knows that. But the love you give does last forever. So we're over the horrors now of our mom not being here, that you could phone her and go, "What was the name of Uncle George's dog?" You know, so like,
yeah.
They're the font of that sort of family knowledge that only they know.
What's Linda's address?
What was Mrs. Millwood's? You know, like, oh no. And that, for the first couple of years, you do like, "Oh, hang on, I'll phone me mom." Oh, right. You get over that part of it, and now it's the love we gave, with the love we shared. That's still there. Smell it like a horse could smell it, you know, and that does have a sense of immortality to it. So it's a really happy song, and the crowd clap along. Oh, that's such a lovely song. What it's about? It's about my mum dying. And that's what life's like, isn't it? You know, that's what life's like.
Certainly. And you, wow, you have a really interesting way of learning guitar. You're right-handed, but you play as if you were left.
Right-handed. Right-handed to the point where this bit looked quite tricky, and this bit looked dead easy. So, I had a guitar my dad gave me, had no scratch plate on it. The guitar was ambiguous, and I thought, well, this is probably it, because this looks really difficult, and this looks dead easy. So I started playing it, and my 12-year-old logic was, dung, yeah, lowest note at the bottom, ding, highest note at the top, that must be it. 2 years of agony followed, playing along with chord books. This sounds nothing like George Harrison. And I gave up in the end. That sounds good.
Right.
And all of a sudden, in an afternoon, I was like, I can play the Rolling Stones songbook. I'd spent 2 years training my fingers. They got really strong, and I'd still not played a bloody tune or anything. And I tuned it up to something, and I was like, I was like, wow, I can play the guitar. And then songs started pouring out of me from that. I wanted just something as a bit of backing for the lyrics, you know. Mm-hmm. Mainly a lyricist, I think. I like music and that, but I want the music really just as a way of setting a mood and propelling the message that I've got, you know. Is it happy, sad, or is that sort of thing.
How surreal was it for you to have your teardrop Vox guitar inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum?
Very surreal.
Right next to Sterling Morrison, one of your heroes.
My hero. When it was inducted, it was put right next to Sterling Morrison, and I was shocked by that when I saw it. Whoa, what's the chances of that then? And then they introduced me to the director. He said, do you remember in 1981 you were touring with the Talking Heads and you did an interview in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the college? And I was like, actually, I do remember that. And he said, and the DJ, it was his first ever interview on the radio. I was like, that's right. It's like, nice to meet you again. I'm the director of the Broken Album.
Oh my goodness.
He said, you told me in that interview that your guitar hero was Sterling Morrison. He said, so when I knew your guitar was coming in, I thought, that should be the place it started.
Wow.
Boom! Since then, it's been in lots of different displays. It got stuck in a left-handers display, and I was between Kurt Cobain and Jimi Hendrix, which was great until somebody asked me, how did it feel to be between two dead people from Seattle? Took a bit of a shine off it, but I was like, they're still great guitarists anyway, whether they're dead or not. The guitar you play lasts forever. Maybe. And then it's been in a few different ones. It was in a two-tone one, and it was in a...
That's right.
Festivals one, so it covered the US festivals. I go and talk to it. Every time I go to Cleveland, I go and talk to it until some kid pulls on their mum. Mum, why is that old man talking to that guitar? Check my phone, wait till they clear up. Right, where were we? They don't understand.
And you'll be back in Cleveland on the 24th.
Yes, I shall be there. You'll see me in the afternoon there, talking to my guitar.
And that's part of the deal, isn't it? When you go back to Cleveland, they'll let you play it if you so want.
I haven't touched it.
Oh, you haven't?
No, at the moment it's insured as an artifact, as a piece of art, and you're not allowed to touch it without a pair of white gloves on.
Oh, wow.
Which is all right for me, because some people said it sounded like I played it with a pair of gloves on in the beginning. Very good, Dave. Try it without the mittens. Yes, it's a really weird. It's almost like being in the Masons, I thought, apart from no trouser leg pulled up. But two guys in white coats, you think, oh, psychiatrist. No, turns out. And they stand there, and it's a big thing about putting white gloves on. Mm-hmm. They're like, could you pass the guitar to them? And you can pass the guitar to them. And they give you a pair of gloves. You're like, okay, thanks. They pass the guitar back to you. You're like, right. And they go, this is just to let you know that nobody will touch this guitar again with their bare hands. It's now insured as a piece of art, as an artifact.
Wow.
And nobody will touch it with their hands until you do again, if you want it. Very odd.
Yeah, right?
I played it before in the hotel room in Cleveland, and I got a bit emotional and started crying a couple of drops, and they fell on the guitar, and I was like, I was a bit awkward about it, so I got a cloth and I used it to polish it. I was like, polished with tears. Like a teardrop guitar,
right?
Polished with tears.
Perfect.
That was the last time it was ever touched. It's covered in my tears at the moment.
Wow.
It's a DNA on it.
And this Tuesday will mark an anniversary for you.
Is it?
That's the 31st of March. In 1979, you guys played your first gig.
Oh my gosh, so it's the Harrisburg Meltdown, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
The Pennsylvania Meltdown. Crikey, I'd forgotten that's come back quick, hasn't it? How many years is that?
36? Right.
My dad says, Piano Dave, you never make a bleeding living on the guitar. Now your cousin Keith, who does a lot of weddings, piano mate, never make a bloody living on that guitar.
And little did you know, someday you'd have none other than Pete Townsend calling you to ask how to play Save It For Later.
No.
While he's sitting next to David Gilmour.
I thought somebody was making a joke. I thought it was Mickey Billingham that was in general public. He was a wild wit. He'd been in Dex's Midnight Runners. He got a great wit about him. But when they phoned, I was like, oh yeah, hello Pete.
You're right.
Nice one, yeah. Hello David. Pete Townsend here. Sitting with David Gilmour, trying to work out your song, Save It For Later. Pete Townsend really moved me as a kid, his lyrics particularly. Yeah, his guitar playing, amazing, but his songs. And Dave Gilmour, helped me through those periods when everybody was lying on the floor and nobody could stand up. Oh, I can't stand up, it's all right, just listen to the Tide 2.
Yeah, right. You'll get through it.
Gorgeous guitar sounds and that. So, two guitarists that had really moved me as a kid. That was surreal. You know, it was lovely. And I got to meet Pete Townsend. He made time to meet me next time he came to Los Angeles. And he told me, Dave, he said, songwriters are the luckiest people in the world. It just doesn't always seem that way. I'm still wondering exactly what he meant, but he's right. I'm not exactly sure.
That's a bit like Shakespeare. He always felt that you could achieve immortality through writing, and he was right to this day.
But in a way he was. And every time things get a bit tough, I have to remember that for the last 2 days as he was finishing Hamlet, he had the bailiffs banging on the door, and he got furniture piled up against the door to stop him throwing him out because he'd got to finish his play. So I always think of that. It's like, I'm never going to get through this. Don't forget. You managed to do Hamlet, you should be able to do this.
Growing up, when you
Growing up, I thought I was the reincarnation of Shakespeare because my hair grew out sideways and it was only 17 miles down the road. So people used to joke at me, you've got William Shakespeare's Brillo pads, haven't you? So I was like, well, I'm probably him, aren't I?
How important were bands like The Clash and those early Trojan releases that tighten up volumes to you as an influence?
Trojan was my introduction to reggae. I heard about it first on the football terraces, soccer terraces. They used to play Trojan records to pacify the skinheads, to stop them kicking each other before the game. And they used to use certain songs like The Liquidator as the team song.
Yeah, the Ethiopians on there.
West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wolverhampton Wanderers both used The Liquidator. West Brom, the Wolves. West Brom, the Wolves. Both Midlands teams too. And that was how we come across with I'll Take You There, which is a take on The Liquidator, the same bass line. So we merged the two songs together. From my love of Trojan and football, and it ended up with Bill Clinton using the song on election day. Right. I'll take you there. Preach to the 21st century. Wow. Couldn't believe it. And then Obama used it too. Stunning. So, if you ever fancy a run for the White House, I'm your man.
There you go.
I'll take you there. Kingmaker as well.
That's right.
Kingmaker.
Well, you've written so many brilliant songs over the years. Is there a particular favorite of yours that to this day?
I think Save It for Later, only because it was one of the first songs I ever wrote. It was a song about not knowing what on earth was going on as you went from youth into supposed adulthood. Well, I'm still actually transitioning.
I know how you feel.
Peter Pan of Scar. And it was a song about not knowing, so it was interesting. It was a song about nothing really, about not knowing what was going on. It was just imagery about trying to find your place in the world. It still felt like a kid, but people were talking to you like a grown-up, so you were miming. Right, yes, right. No clue at all. And the games that would turn into, so it ended up as a dirty high school wordplay, save it for later. Leave it out, cocksucker. So I like that one. It's 3 chords. I don't have to look at it. It just plays itself, and it's like hypnotic and meditative. And then it spurred Pearl Jam to write Better Man over the top.
They really did. When you hear Better Man, you can hear, and they've been covering it a bit.
Oh, I know they do. And so I started doing a bit of Better Man, grabbing the mic. Who's what? I can yell if I have to. But, lovely fellow, really nice chap. I haven't seen him for ages, but really nice. And they do the song great too. So what an honour. I mean, it's almost as good as getting paid for it, isn't it?
Right.
Next best thing, really.
And to have an influence on such a big band as Pearl Jam.
And they did such great things socially as well, didn't they? I mean,
Absolutely.
They really compromised their multi-billionaire status by trying to do the right thing, where most people go, it's too much trouble, let's just go with the big Money Boys.
They're still in their 20s. They try to take on Ticketmaster. I mean, they were always... Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, and you know what? In 100 years' time, our great-grandchildren, they'll know about Pearl Jam, but they'll... Ticket what?
Right.
Ticket who?
Ticket what?
You know. They won't know about them at all.
And
So they were right, Pearl Jam, they were right.
I've always wondered, I Confess, was that autobiographical, or was that...
Only partly.
Okay.
Only partly. It was inspired by one of those photo love magazines where they have photographs with bubbles coming out of it, and it was the most tawdry story about a wedding where the bride's sister, who was the chief bridesmaid, had always had a crush on the groom, and the bride caught them doing it in the room behind the church.
Oh, jeez.
I confess I ruined 3 lives. I read it, I was like, yeah, but didn't care.
Yeah, so I found out
that
one was mine. Yeah.
and that spurred the whole thing off then, because especially, I suppose, in affairs of the heart, that often happens, you know. Mm-hmm. You're like so bothered about the rights and wrongs of the situation, they put everybody else in the place, and then you say, oh, it includes me? Oh. Well, I didn't know, you know.
That whole being self-absorbed, which kind of ties into Mirror in the Bathroom.
It does, you know, it's me, it's, oh God, I know. And it's all right being able to comment about that sort of stuff and see it, but it doesn't mean that you're not still trapped in it in your life, you know. It's like, all you ever learn, really, is that the thing we have most in common is human foible. Every time you get excited, every time you get angry, you develop as many blind spots as you do intuitions. And then, I mean, look at photographs of yourself from 5 years ago. You go, what an idiot. You think about something that you said or did last year and you think, what an idiot. And next year you're going to say exactly the same thing about what you just did this week. What an idiot. How did I do that? I don't know whether it's just continuing idiocy or you keep getting drawn back to your blind spots until you finally learn it.
Well, that's the thing, I think, is just being able to self-evolve. If you're not continually growing, I think, as a person and putting yourself in check, then how do we improve as human beings?
I suppose so. It's just the painful pruning every spring.
Right,
I know
yes.
It makes for more flowers, but I hate having those limbs cut off.
The yearly judgment day where we rewind our lives.
I know, it's awkward. It's awkward. And it's all well and good, I think, sometimes in that sort of artistic world, you can sing about it and that, but it still doesn't mean that you're not still rocked by the waves of it in your life. Like it says in Faults and All, I can't take my own advice.
Right.
It's dead easy to point out somebody else. You know, you could give me the list of your 10 worst problems and I could give you the list of mine. I'd be like, piece of cake, fix that. You can't fix your own at all.
Yeah,
you
right.
don't even see them because it's the way you look at the world is what's starting to create those mismatches. Very tricky. I'm just glad I stayed alive long enough to realise I'm clueless. I knew the lot.
Well, we're very glad that you have and that you're carrying on. Thank you so much for over 30 years of just amazing, positive, just inspiring music that, honestly, when you guys play, and you know, I've seen you so many times, something happens in that crowd where everybody becomes a big family and just loves each other.
It's Carl Jung's theory of mass consciousness. I feel it ripple over the crowd like watching a barbecue start. And before the crowd's aware of it, I become aware of it. I'm like, oh, they're moving as one. And they're like 3 or 4 songs and look on their face and they're like, are we like all one or something?
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Of course.
And when can we expect the new album to drop?
Well, it's meant to be September now. It was going to be August, but the record company says they have to bring out vinyl at the same time as CDs, which is nonsense. And now there's a vinyl shortage.
Really, a vinyl shortage?
Yes, can't get in America. Belgium's run out, so they've all gone to Czechoslovakia, which is the last place where you're allowed to have polyvinyl chloride factories without any venting, I expect.
No, okay.
I mean, it's poisonous stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I know records sound better, but I went to a record, excuse me, plant. Just thinking about it does that.
Right.
For the Too Nice to Talk To video, we spent an afternoon there with people who were making our records.
Oh wow, it's that bad, huh? Jeez.
Rags wrapped round you, bits of burning plastic everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Stench of burning polyvinyl chloride. No. I got really upset by it in the end, wrote a song, it never came out. It sounded like a bit like a Bob Dylan. Sometimes I wonder, do I write... a woman getting cancer from the plastic of recordings. Sometimes I wonder if this whole world was designed so I could sing about it.
Yeah.
So that's weird. I said, well, you should just bring it out when it's ready. I'm not going to argue about it with the record company. It's always a waste of time. I always say to them, what month did Rubber Soul come out? And they always very glibly say, 1963. And I'm like, exactly. Everybody knows what year a great record came out. Nobody remembers the month any record ever came out. Doesn't matter. If it's a good record, come out whenever you like.
Right.
You know? But they get obsessed by it, you know. For some reason now, everything rests on vinyl being available the same day as CDs.
Yeah, it's strange. And they just announced here in America that new releases aren't coming out on Tuesdays anymore. They'll be coming out on Fridays.
Oh my God.
I know, which is kind of a bummer. Tuesday gave you something to look forward to halfway through the week.
Yes, that's right. It was like a cheer up before Hump Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
There was a bloke who used to work for Rodney on the Rock, and he used to fly to London every Monday, and he used to go to a record shop and buy every new release on a Tuesday morning, get on a plane to Los Angeles and deliver all the new singles to Rodney. And he played Tears of a Clown the day it came out.
Oh, wow.
He was the first person to play our record.
Your first
his
single.
gimmick, he was the first person to play all the bloody records that came out, because he
He
got
was.
somebody giving him a box
Right.
every Tuesday. Now that's going to have to be Fridays now as well.
Absolutely. Well,
Why do they do that? Well, I wonder why. Well, it's more efficient, I expect. Eventually, you won't even have to choose the records. You'll just get an email on a Friday tell you what records you've got.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's all right.
That's how it's
For
evolved.
ease of convenience, we've just debited your account.
We notice you're a fan of these particular bands.
So we sent you 3 others, like a record club.
Yeah, right. Oh, those old ones in the 80s where you'd sign up and, yeah.
And get tons of stuff you hated.
Yep, exactly.
Till you stop paying for it.
Yeah, and subscribe.
That's right. Well, I've probably got to go. I've got to go on stage.
You do. I thank you for your time.
Thank
It's
you
been
very
a pleasure.
much indeed. Sorry I made you wait for a bit there. I didn't know you was downstairs waiting. So
Oh, no
glad we got
worries.
it done.
Thank you for all the wonderful tunes from The Beat, General Public, your solo work, just everything.
Well,
It's
thank
just-
you for what you're doing here as well. See, that's how the word gets spread. It's nice that we can do stuff like this now. You know, it's not some huge corporation that you got to watch your words and.
You've got a bunch of suits and
party
ties.
line and stuff like that. So I'm sad that the record industry collapsed, but I like what's going on in the debris.
Yeah, it's kind of
Thank
giving
you.
you guys back a little more control and power, I think.
Yes, I mean, it was always horrible having to tolerate somebody's nephew telling you how to do songs and they've never done a song.
Right.
And then by the time the songs came out, they were gone because they just took twice the money to go and tell somebody else how to do songs. So they were never committed anyway.
And where's the best way for people to keep up to date with what you guys are up to online?
I think the English Beat Facebook page is pretty good. I'm on that most days and I answer most messages as well. The Dave Wakeling Facebook's quite good. EnglishBeat.net is pretty good. That's got all the historical stuff and is probably the best information. And Instagram's good if you like that sort of thing. 15 seconds of something arbitrary.
Right?
Look what I ate.
Yeah, look what I had for dinner. Don't you wish you had it?
I know. Yeah, but I'd say the Facebook scene's pretty good. I've stopped talking politics on Facebook, but I was drawing too many trolls.
Speaking of that, and people that do that, Michael Ashton says hi from Jezebel.
Bless.
I told him we'd be talking to you tonight, and he...
Oh, and he's a hell of a voice, hasn't he?
Oh, my
I
God,
always say to him,
incredible.
You sound like that Tom Jones, you know?
He does.
There's that lovely Welsh brogue about him, doesn't he? You know, yeah.
He's going to be at the Whiskey in April, he just announced.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, he had nothing but wonderful things to say.
Good, he's a
about you,
lovely
so-
chap. No, we've always got on dreadfully well. actually quite a lot of singers turn out to be quite nice. We were always very jealous at the time. Who's number 6 in the charts and I'm number 8? I hate him. But they turn out to be quite nice fellows, most of them.
Yeah, he's super nice. Well, again, thank you for your
Pleasure.
time, and
Thank you, sir.
it's been an honor. Lord Wakeling.